What's up, everybody? Chuck Fulkerson here. Hope you're having a great day. What we're going to talk about today is what I find to be the absolute single best setup in order to identify good swing trading stock opportunities. One of the things that I hear people talk a lot about is how do you find good trades? How do I find good stocks? And I think it's important to have good scans. And so by the end of this video, you're going to be able to create these scans yourself. I'm going to show you a couple of different places that you can create these scans. And this is a very simple scan that you can run yourself anytime. Do me a favor, if you're not a regular viewer, click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We do regular videos. Our daily market commentaries come out on a regular basis. And if you are and if you do come watch us regularly, I appreciate it. Leave a thumbs up, leave a like. Computers like it, we like it a lot. And comment down below. What kind of scans do you use? So make sure down below there's a comment box. Leave a comment. What's your favorite scan? So let's go ahead and get started with what we call the bull area scan. So the bull area is an important scan. And what it does is it really helps to identify strong trending stocks that have come back to a pullback area. And this is the bull area, obviously, is we're going to be looking for bullish stocks. Now, this is designed to be a swing trading setup. And when we talk about a swing trading setup, it means trades that we plan on being in for a few days, sometimes even a few weeks. So to do this scan, what we're going to do is we're going to utilize moving averages. And moving averages, if you're familiar with a moving average is nothing more than a technical analysis tool that smooths out price data by creating a constantly updated average price. That's all it does. It just smooths out price data. So if you use moving averages, one of the things that I hear people talk about with moving averages is that they use them for decision-making tools. And while I think that there's a lot of use for using moving averages, a lot of people use them as triggers for entry or triggers for exit or dynamic trend lines or for moving average crossovers. Moving averages in themselves are always going to lag price because you need price in order to calculate the moving average. And so we're not going to really today talk about using moving averages in that way, although they can be done and there's a lot more topic. I could speak a whole day on nothing but moving averages and how to use them effectively. We're not going to really talk about using them for those. But it's important to know what a moving average is. And very simply, it's the sum of all closing prices over the last X number of periods and then divided by X. And then there's a line put on a chart which connects the points. So let me give you a mathematical example just so everybody understands. So here's an example of a stock between August 15th and September the 9th, right? And once again, we just put some dates in here just to give you the idea. If we look at that 10-period simple moving average, we're looking at a 10-period moving average. All it's doing is it's taking the average price over the last 10 periods. So notice that the first 9 numbers there say NA, as in not applicable. Well, we can't calculate a moving average of 10 items until we have 10 items. So once we get our 10th date, the price there of 232.47, the 10-period moving average on that day is 228.40, right? Now, that 228.40 that we see there is the average of every number that came before it. And that is what makes it a simple average, right? It's just a simple average of all the 10 numbers that came before it. But what makes it a moving average? Well, what makes it a moving average is that the next day, the first number, the 235.64, is going to drop off the calculation. And it's replaced by 236.98. Now, think about it mathematically. If you're taking an average and you drop off 235.64 and you bring in 236.98, mathematically that average is going to have to go up. And you can see here that the average goes up from 228.40 to 228.54. The very next day, it's 230.91. The very next day, it's 233.01. And each day, it's dropping off the prior day and adding the new day, right? It's dropping off the first day of the prior day's calculation and adding the new day. Now, so long as the new day that's being added is a larger number than the day that's being dropped, the average will continue to go up. If the new number that's being added is a smaller number than the number that's being dropped, in that case, the average would go down. But when you connect these points, that's where you get a line, right? The line is just the connection of these points. So in this picture, what we're looking at is a 50-period moving average. We can see that our length is set to 50. right? This is done based off the closing price up there on the top where it says inputs. We see that our closing price is what's calculated, and our length is 50. So the line that we see here is a 50-period moving average. So it takes the last 50 closing candlesticks and then takes that number and divides by 50. So that's really all a moving average is. Very simple stuff. So how are we used? Well, like I talked earlier, dynamic trend lines, price crossovers as triggers. We're going to use it today to talk about it as a filter, right? We're going to use it as a filter. And that's really where we talk about the bull area scan and finding the bull area positions. So what's the objective? The objective is to find stocks that are in an established uptrend that have pulled back to a possible buying area. That's what our goal is to do, to find stocks in an established uptrend that have pulled back to a possible buying area. So how do I know that they're in an uptrend? Well, I need 3 moving averages. And the 3 moving averages we're going to use here today are the 20-period moving average, the 50-period moving average, and the 200-period moving average. Now, a couple of other keys. This stock, we wanted to have an ATR of at least 1. So ATR is the average trading range. We want it to trade at least $1 a day. Volume of at least 800,000 shares because it's got to have enough liquidity and enough volume. Now, this number can certainly change based upon your own personal trading plan and what you're willing to do, but I look for 800,000 shares or higher typically. I also look for optionable and shortable. So I'm a big believer in utilizing options in my position. So I want optionable and shortable stocks. And then the last thing is that we want the moving averages to be stacked, right? So what does it mean to be a stacked moving average? So let's look at a chart with those 3 moving averages. The 3 moving averages are on this chart here of Facebook, and you can see that in purple, we have our 200-period simple moving average. In green is the 50-period simple moving average. And in blue is the 20-period simple moving average. This is the definition of stacked moving averages. The 20 is above the 50, and the 50 is above the 200. Now, not every platform is going to give you the ability to scan for stacked moving averages, so you do still have to look at the chart. Some platforms will. Some platforms will allow you to compare, you would literally put in that the 20-period moving average is greater than the 50-period simple moving average. You would put in that the 50-period simple moving average is greater than the 200-period simple moving averages. And if those two things are connected, as in they both have to be true, that will help your filter to get stacked moving average positions. I know that can be done in certain platforms. I know TradeStation can do it. I think NinjaTrader can do it. I'm pretty sure that Interactive Brokers can do it. I know that Thinkorswim, TD Ameritrade does not. And I'm going to show you Finviz also does not. But it can be done in some platforms. So that's what we're looking for. And what is the bull area? Well, the bull area is the area between a rising 50 and a rising 20. So what do we know for certain? Well, think about this for a minute. If a stock is above the 200 and it's above the 50 and it's pulled back below the 20, well, we know for certain that it's in an uptrend if it's above the 50 and above the 200. We also know that it is pulled back a little bit to an area where there could be a buying opportunity. Now, what's interesting about this is that when I first learned this style, one of the things that I learned was that the 20-period moving average was the retail trader average. A lot of retail traders use that 20-period moving average. The 50-period moving average I heard of was the professional trader average. A lot of professional traders were using the 50. And then the 200-period moving average, that was the institutional average. A lot of institutional investors use it. And so that professional trading area really becomes the area that in an uptrend will act as a support line. And just take a look at this picture of Facebook. You can see that Facebook has violated the 20 on a number of occasions, but pretty much every time that it violates the 20, it does come back and give an opportunity to get long on a pullback moving forward. So let's look at an example of what a scan might look like. And for example, this is a picture of a scan inside of a brokerage firm, this particular one being Thinkorswim. But let me shift over and show the platform. So here is the platform, and this is the Facebook stock that I was just talking about, and the picture that I took a snapshot of in order to put it on the screen for today. We can see that Facebook, as of today, and we're recording this on Thursday, September the 16th, 2021, Facebook has pulled back into the bull area. Now, does that mean that Facebook is a buying opportunity? Not necessarily. It really now matters more if it's a fair price value area and a zone of demand. We want to utilize the moving average scan to give me potential trades, and then I've got to use fair price value areas to identify those opportunities. If you're not familiar with fair price value areas and how we utilize those along with order flow and supply and demand, go to tradersarmy.com. We've got a lot of information there that you can take a look at to see to kind of help you understand more about it. But looking here at Facebook, what you see here is that I've got 3 moving averages, the 20, the 50, and the 200. So I'm going to move over to the scan. And when I go to the scan, I already have this scan saved. And this is saved as my bull area stocks search list. And what you can see is that I have the stock ask is greater than 15, so a minimum of $15 a share position. We have an average volume of the 50-period simple moving average of volume is greater than 800,000. So that's a study. We're scanning based upon the study. And then you can see that we've got a study that the moving average, the close, is at least 0.01% below the 20 of the simple period moving average. The close is at least 0.01% above the 50, and the close is at least 0.01% above the 200 period simple moving average. So this does not give me the opportunity to stack them. In this particular platform, I can't quite mix I can't have the moving average scan is greater than the other moving average scan. Although if you know how to do it, please do me a favor, put it in the chat window down below. Want to hear what you guys know. I do not profess to be a platform expert. My job is to understand how to read the charts. The platform programming is not my sweet spot. But when I run that scan, it tells me I can hit the scan button, and I ran this earlier today. It gave me 119 results, but those results could have changed, showing me 110 stocks that are giving me a result. Now, what I can now do is take this list and use this list really as a watch list. So as I open this thing up and I pull up my bull area stocks, I now can go through and I look at each individual stock. So for example, here we are with Charter Communications. Next is United Healthcare. Next is Goldman Sachs. We can see that Goldman Sachs has stacked moving averages. Charter and United both had stacked moving averages. Now, does it mean that they're definitely tradable opportunities? Not necessarily. Look at United Healthcare. It's actually come below the 50, and it's not really sitting at an area of demand that screams buying opportunity. Whereas Charter is actually a little bit better because we're closing in on this level right through here as a potential buying area, but that would drop us below the 50. So I'm not saying that they're all going to be ready to trade. We still have to know and identify good opportunities by knowing where are the quality areas of demand and quality areas of supply. But this is a great way to go through it. Now, looking at, for example, this one, we see that it does have stacked moving averages, but just barely, right? And as we go through them, there will be some that just don't have stacked moving averages. It's a possibility that the moving average that we would want it to be stacked, but that's not always going to be the case, although it seems like it is this time through, as just about everything is in a stacked moving average structure. Now, you say, well, I really like this scan, but I don't use this broker, or I have a brokerage and I'm not sure how to use it. Well, let me show you another way to do this scan, and that would be on the web. So I'm going to go to the internet and go to Finviz, Finviz.com. Now, Finviz we're not affiliated with Finviz in any way. It's a completely separate website. Although if Finviz wants to do a partnership, please give me a call. But if you go to Screener in Finviz and you look at Finviz's Screener, you can go to All. And this opens up all of the filters. Now, you see here that there's 8,265 stocks that it's going to filter. Well, I certainly don't want 8,265, so I want to filter first by price. So I always start with price, and I'm going to do over $15 a share. So that takes me from $82.65 down to $52.41. I then want to sort by average true range. I want an average true range of over 1. So now I'm down to 23.58. And then I want an average volume of over 800,000 shares. So I don't have 800,000 on this platform, so I choose 750. And I'm down to 823 stocks. Now, the last one is that I want something that is both optionable and shortable. And there we go. In my world, this is my tradable universe. Stocks that are over 15 bucks a share, that have an over 1 average true range, a volume of over 750,000, and they're optionable and shortable. There's 809 stocks in my tradable universe. It's a pretty simple way to take something like 5,200 down to 809. But we need to go through the next step, which is taking a look at our 20-period simple moving average. I want price below the 20. All right, now I'm down to 441. But I also want price above the 50 and price above the 200. So this takes me down to 102. Now, why did the Thinkorswim scan give me 110, but this one gives me 102? Well, if you think about it, I was a bit more selective in this one because I was able to select average true range, and I was able to select optionable and shortable. So I actually get probably a closer list in this case. And one of the stocks on my list here is Apple, right? It's got Apple here on my list. And so let's pull up a chart of Apple. And when I pull up a chart of Apple, we can see that we're in a stacked moving average area. We're below the 20, but you notice here price is just barely above the 50. And so I can export this list if I choose to export this particular list. Another thing that I can do is really just go through each one and look and see what looks like it's in a good pullback opportunity for a long trade as you identify these opportunities. So that's all we have. Hopefully this helps you a little bit in identifying quality areas, quality opportunities for a scan. This is my favorite scan, but do me a favor, leave a comment down below. What scans do you like to use in your particular trading? Hope you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Hey, thanks for joining us. If you like what we do, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's the only way the computers know that you're actually alive and really care. And go to tradersarmy.com today to learn a bit more. And if you want to see some of our other videos, click here in the box.